Before I was at Dropbox, though, I co-founded a tech company called Ideascale with some of my friends, and I worked there for almost 10 years, but scaling, building that company over time. And I did the majority of that time as not just a customer marketing team of one, but just a marketing team of one, which means I had to do a little bit of everything, like demand gen, all of our events, all of our messaging platforms, everything. But that's actually something that's made me believe that customer marketing is actually the heartbeat of any marketing organization, because that is what scaled that company. That's what grew us organically, bootstrapped us up to $10 million. It was all customer marketing. So it's actually only recently that I started thinking of myself as a customer marketer. I just kind of thought of myself as this jack of all trades marketer. And then Ari already asked you the question, how many of you are on a team of one? It looks like, I don't know, it looks like there's a bunch of us who are, or I know, Peta, you're joining and you're going to be a team of one soon. And it's not surprising. This is CMA data, I think, that shows that the majority of us are still on teams of one. And I think the thing that Ari was even alluding to in his last presentation is that we also have this other thing that's happening, is that we are all on teams of one, but we are one of the most cross-functional disciplines at any organization. We end up working with team members at in a bunch of other groups. So when I was looking at what I wanted to do next, I kind of discovered this whole customer marketing thing, and I realized this jack of all trades marketing thing that I was doing actually really positioned me very well to be a customer marketer. And I think it also works the other way. I'm sure if any of us want to go into some other field, we want to go and join in sales, or you want to do something else in marketing, you really got the chops to do it because you're probably working with those people right now. But this is kind of like what it looks like in terms of who customer marketing is working with. And I think it also sort of illustrates the problem of being a customer marketing team of one, because customer marketing covers quite a wide range of sins, and it can really take on a lot of different projects. Advocacy means different things to different people. So that's why the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is prioritization. And I have to admit that I used a few cheat codes to develop this presentation. I asked ChatGPT to write it for me, but we did not agree, so you won't see ChatGPT's work in this presentation. But I did also crowdsource from a bunch of my customer marketing friends what they would say if they were to speak on this topic, so I'll be referencing that throughout as well. But every single one of them and ChatGPT did agree the first thing was prioritization, because you are a team of one and you have to protect your own sanity as well as be effective. So Jane Menyo at Gong, she was talking about making sure that you interview your stakeholders first to get a sense of who's going to see the most value, where you're going to deliver wins, and what you can do to get your most valuable projects under you first. And I agree with Jane that that's the place that you should start too, is with your internal stakeholders. Ari's slide was sort of this similar. It's who are the people who you will be collaborating with? You could have used that slide. It's sort of this slide. What I would say, it's a great place to start if you're just starting out as a customer marketing team of one, but it doesn't matter if you've been there for years as a team of one. I think it's still a good way to reset, figure out if you're still moving in the right direction and working with the right people. And I would set up an interview with at least one person on each of these teams and figure out, ask them a variety of questions. And for this presentation, I actually put together a little downloadable packet of all of these things that you can use, including a guide of interview questions. But I think these are the 3 questions you must ask all of those people. You can ask other ones, you can make up your own, but you have to ask them, what do you know about the customer? Both because it's going to inform you, but also it's going to show you where the disparities are in terms of the knowledge gaps, what's important to people, and then asking them what's the most important thing we could do to deliver value right now to the customer. And maybe if it's not happening right now, say, why isn't it happening, as a follow-up question to that. And then my favorite question is, if I could do anything to make your job easier in the next quarter, what would it be? Because that'll be enormously clarifying in what's important to them and how they see themselves in relationship to you. So when I was first getting started, particularly in those early days of Ideascale, it was all about, we wanted to know more about the customer. We were trying to build out our ICP profile, and we needed it was all MQLs all the time. That's all anyone wanted to talk about. And so one of the first projects that I invested in after all those conversations was like, we were gonna do a bunch of user research, both to get that data, but we also was like, we were asking our customers to co-create the best practices around using our technology. We ended up creating this state of crowdsourced innovation report, which became like the most downloaded resources that built up our pipeline for leads. So that all came from some of those internal stakeholder conversations. And then I'm sure everybody else, I feel like a lot of people have talked about some of these things, but I think one of the things people have said repeatedly today is you also have to interview your customers. As my friend Valeria at Airtable pointed out, like, we are the beating heart of customers. Everything should begin and end with them, so make sure that you have conversations, I'd say with like 3 to 5 people at least, any of them, anybody post-sale, whether they love you or not. And again, I have many interview questions you could ask, but the top 3, I think, is how did you come to work with our product? Like, what were the pain points and needs that, brought you to this in the first place? And then what is your use case? How does it fit in your day-to-day life? And what do you think of it? And then if there is one thing that we could do to deliver more value in your life right now, what would it be? And again, that's going to help you determine what makes the most sense. And for me, like at Dropbox, when I was talking to our customers when I was first getting started, one of the things that became apparent, our ideal customer is actually an SMB, so it's a lot of entrepreneurs and creatives, and they're all on their own, and they're like, I don't know how to make a legal agreement, I don't know what marketing best practices are, and they wanted to learn from each other. So for that reason, we knew community was going to be something that was really important to them. So this is, even Canva can't make me a good designer type of slide here, but I kind of think of this as my prioritization bingo. I think you should think of what you should be working on in terms of the customer journey. And as you're having these conversations, you're noting, you're kind of like listening for those keywords of where there are gaps in the process. Was it hard when they came on board and they had to learn about a new product quickly? Is somebody telling you that you have to onboard Pendo and make them, you have to be part of that? Are they talking about the importance of references in your sales calls? So as you're pointing those things out, I think it's good to just highlight them and then kind of give them a score. And there's a special extra weight when you see overlap between your internal stakeholders and your customers. And so as you're going through that, kind of playing bingo, you can identify where your biggest gaps are. Because then it helps you clarify everything else. It's like, okay, I knew these things, but now I also know these are the key partners I'm gonna have to work with. And these are the key pieces of technology that I can choose between. Or these are the relevant metrics that matter at this point in the customer journey. And also gives you some fast follows, and also someday you won't be a team of 1, and it makes you think about where you would make your first hire. And I think it also helps because somebody's going to come to you inevitably and be like, yeah, but I want to do customer advisory boards and all the other things that were on that slide that Ari just showed. And you can say, I'm sorry, no, our internal research has showed that this is where we're prioritizing for right now.